Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about head tags in HTML. We will see some interesting stuff inside it. But before we jump in, I want to show you a tool that will be your best friend on your journey to become a web developer. To use this tool, just right-click anywhere on a web page and choose Inspect. This opens up the browser developer tool, and here you can see all the source code you wrote in your HTML page. The doc type tag, the HTML tag, the head and the body tag. And if you open the body section, you will find your HTML and other element. And if you hover the mouse over any element, the browser highlighted directly on the page. The real power of this tool is that you can make changes right here. For example, you can change the text of the HTML tag or even delete it completely. But here is the thing. These changes only happen in your browser. They don't really affect the real source code. So no, you can't just go to Google, inspect the page, delete the word Google, and suddenly think you became a hacker and hacked the internet like Mr. Robot. No. The moment you refresh the browser, all these changes disappear. Now let's go back to Google, open Inspect, and let's check out the head tag. On the first line inside the head tag, we will see the meta tag. The meta tag is a single tag. Like we said before, some people add a slash at the end of a single tag, some don't. But both ways are correct. In the meta tag, before the closing angle bracket, we write something like charset. Now, what is charset? That's called an attribute. Attributes are things we can add to the tag to give him some extra information. For example, I can go to the h1 tag and add a style attribute. By the way, the style attribute is used for CSS code, but don't worry about that. I'm just using it to help you understand what are attributes. Now, after the attribute, we have the quotes, and here it's how we give the value to the attribute. These can be double quotes or single quotes. Both work fine. So, what does charset mean? Charset actually stands for character set, and it defines the character encoding on the page. It simply means it's tell your browser what language your website supports. These days, we always use UTF-8 because it supports almost all languages. But before, developers used it to use ISO-8859-1 as the standard character set. But it didn't support many languages, including Arabic. For example, if we paste an Arabic sentence and use the ISO-8859-1, we'll just see some weird symbols. But if we switch to the UTF-8, the text displays perfectly. Another useful attribute that we can talk about is the lang attribute, which goes inside the HTML tag. For example, we can say langs equal AR for Arabic equal EN for English. And by the way, don't worry, using the lang attribute doesn't affect the Arabic displays, because we're already using the UTF-8. Now, what it really does is helping the search engines understanding the language your website is written in. Okay, now I want you to pay close attention, because we're about to start adding website information. And we do this using the meta tag again, but this time, not with the charset attribute. Instead, we use the name and the content attribute. And here is something important. Adding website information with meta tags is optional. So if you want to add it, great. If you don't, your website will still work fine. Now in the name attribute, we put the type of the metadata. For example, let's say description. And in the content attribute, we put the value. In this case, the actual description of the website. And we can find this description when we search for a website in Google. We can also use the keywords metadata. These are the words you expect people to search for in Google. It simply helps your website to get more people. To define keywords, we use the content attribute and write something like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, any word. If you want to add more, just separate them using a comma, and there you can add as you want. Another common one is the author metadata. It's used basically to define the owner of the website. Again, and as before, the value goes inside the content attribute. And by the way, there's a lot of other metadata, and if you want to know them, just search for W3 School metadata, and you will find a list of them there. Now, there is another way how we can use the meta. It's called HTTP-equiv. If we set the HTTP equiv to refresh, then in the content attribute, will give us a number. That number is the refresh time in seconds. For example, 3, the browser will refresh automatically every 3 seconds. If you set it to 0, the browser will refresh non-stop. That means if we make a change in the code, it's appear instantly. Now that we talked about that, there is an interesting interview question that a lot of people get it wrong. They ask them, how can we redirect a user from our website to another website using just HTML? And actually, it's simple. After the number of seconds, we just add the URL word, then an equal, followed by the full address, starting with the HTTPS and ending with the site you want user to be redirected to. Now, before we finish, let's see 3 more tags. First, we have the link tag. This tag has 2 main attributes. The real attribute, which stands for relationship. If it says style sheet, that means the file is a CSS file. The second attribute is the href, which defines the path of the file. If it's in the same folder, you simply write the name of the file. If it's somewhere else, you need to write the full path. And don't worry, we will go deep into this when we start the CSS course. Next, we have the style tag. This allows you to write a CSS code inside the HTML file. For example, if we write body, a open curly bracket, background, blue, then a closing curly bracket. If we refresh the browser, as you can see, the background became blue. And finally, we have the script tag. This is where we will be able to write some JavaScript code inside the HTML file. That's it for today. I hope this video helped you really to understand the head tag more. In the next video, we will explore more HTML tags. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a nice comment, and see you in the next one.